Star Wars Jedi, Survivor lightsaber stances sound a lot like Ghost of Tsushima's. The Star Wars Jedi, Survivor story will pick up 5 years after the events of Jedi, Fallen Order, which concluded with Cal Kestis sacrificing the chance to rebuild the Jedi Order to keep Force-sensitive children safe from the Empire. We're expecting a darker tone to this sequel, as Cal is pushed into an increasingly desperate fight as the galaxy descends further into darkness. As one of the last remaining Jedi Knights in the galaxy, Star Wars Jedi, Survivor will explore how far Cal is willing to go to protect himself, his crew, and the legacy of the Jedi Order as the dark times close in around him. In an interview with Game Informer, game director Stig Asmussen spoke about some of the new gameplay mechanics players can expect to see in Star Wars Jedi, Survivor. Asmussen explained that players will be able to use 5 fully realized stances in the game and that each will provide unique advantages in particular circumstances and against certain enemy types. This type of gameplay will be immediately familiar to those who played 2020's Ghost of Tsushima, where protagonist Jin Sakai would need to switch between stances to get the edge over different opponents. Players fell in love with Star Wars Jedi, Fallen Order's gameplay mechanics. It was a fresh take on Star Wars games of old, borrowing a few mechanics from the Dark Souls series. Then again, Dark Souls and now Elden Ring basically wrote the book on how to make an exciting action/adventure RPG. Asmussen spoke of 3 significant pillars that worked with Jedi, Fallen Order, combat, exploration, and story. As long as they don't fix what isn't broken, players can expect the same gameplay mechanics in Star Wars Jedi, Survivor. If Respawn can borrow just one more teeny-tiny thing from Dark Souls, it would be warping between spawn points. In Fallen Order, players could rest at spawn point to recover their health and reset the world. However, they were stuck traversing back the way they came, often through a one-way labyrinth of enemies, hazards, and puzzles. Star Wars Jedi, Survivor will expand upon the challenging action RPG combat of its predecessor. Game director Stig Asmussen confirms that Respawn is leveraging advanced technology of the PS5 and Xbox Series X to create more dynamic Jedi combat. Adding that Jedi, Survivor will expand on the series' dynamic combat in new and innovative ways. In order to survive, Cal must learn new skills and grow his connection with the Force. That means we'll see the introduction of new Force abilities and new lightsaber fighting styles, as well as the ability to use a blaster. Respawn has also promised that Star Wars Jedi, Survivor will feature an expanded range of enemies, and that we'll need to cleverly utilize our training to overcome opponents and solve mysteries contained on both new planets and familiar frontiers in the Star Wars galaxy. In the interview, Asmussen detailed the 5 stances and how which the player uses will depend a lot on which enemy Cal is facing. These include the default single blade familiar to Jedi, Fallen Order players, the double-bladed form also seen in that game, a crossguard lightsaber, dual lightsabers, and a lightsaber stance that incorporates Cal's new blaster. This type of gameplay requires more thought on the part of the player, as enemies will not be defeated by simple button mashing. Players will need to analyze and understand Star Wars Jedi, Survivor's new enemies to figure out which stance is best to use in a given moment, similar to Ghost of Tsushima. Star Wars Jedi, Survivor picks up 5 years after the events of Star Wars Jedi, Fallen Order. Cal Kestis must stay one step ahead of the Empire's constant pursuit as he continues to feel the weight of being one of the last remaining Jedi in the galaxy. Developed by the veteran team at Respawn Entertainment, Jedi, Survivor will expand upon iconic Star Wars stories, worlds, and characters, and thrilling combat first experienced in Jedi, Fallen Order. Star Wars Jedi, Survivor is being built for the current generation of gaming hardware to create a deeper and more expansive Star Wars experience for players worldwide when the game launches in 2023.